Thank you for tuning in today. I'm John Holmes with Holmes Hobbies, and we have part 2 of the Wraith 1.9 review, which honestly is my favorite rig to drive right now. So this is the part 2 of our Wraith 1.9 review, and as I said in the last video, there's going to be some upgrades to it, and we have made some upgrades. Not the ones I was expecting to make, but ones that were greatly needed. I did already change the motor out to a Crawlmaster Pro 13 turn, or 16 turn, hold on. It's a 16 turn. I really wanted to put a Crawlmaster Magnum in there, but I sometimes have to tell myself, no, don't install the same thing over and over and over again into all your rigs. So I went a little bit different on this, and I threw a 16 turn Crawlmaster Pro in there, which is about the same speed as stock. What I did learn is on 3S, this rig is maybe a little bit over-geared. It still performed just fine. There was no heat issues on it, but I would like a little bit better low speed control, a little bit better torque, and honestly, I don't need as much wheel speed as it has when running a 3S LiPo. So what I think I'm going to do is adjust that pinion, which is, I believe, a 20 tooth. I'm probably going to throw about a 15 tooth in there after this video. I did not exchange the ESC out yet because I really wanted to see how good the low speed control would be on the stock ESC. It's not bad, but it's really not great. What I would really like to put in this thing is a BRXL so that we have a lot better low speed control, put a little bit of Expo in there, still have plenty of drag brake, the whole 9 yards. Right now, it's still my favorite brushed ESC. Of course, wheels and tires is pretty much something that I end up putting on all of my rigs. The stock tires were so-so is about the best way that I can put it nicely. And when they got wet, they just lost all grip. Not the worst stock tires by any means, but also not the greatest. So threw on some Voodoos and some XDs from Vanquish products, and that increases stability a little bit higher mass in the wheels. It's good to have that weight down low. And another change that I did, which I didn't really expect, but I was at the Missouri G6, and I had some of the local guys with me, and they were thumbing through all my boxes of products that I brought. And if you look in the rear, we actually installed a Curry anti-rock sway bar from Vanquish products. And as you can see, it doesn't affect the squat of the rig. So we have a little bit of droop, about 30% droop stock from the factory pretty much, which is perfect. But in the last video, you saw that we had pretty bad torque twists. So you get up to an object and the front end would just pick up, the rear end of the vehicle was just really diving down and contributing to that torque twist. And so we threw on this sway bar, and perfect. This was exactly what it needed. It pretty much cut out all the torque twists. There's a little bit on the front, but it's nowhere near as bad as it was. We still get plenty of articulation. Plenty of articulation. If you're new into this, you may be wanting to get as much articulation from your rig. Don't do it. Don't fall into that. You really don't need that much. You need enough to get up onto objects without upsetting your weight balance and really no more. Because if you get into a situation where you're up here and you have too much articulation, it'll just flop over. So it was perfect. I couldn't be any happier with this rig right now, except for the low speed control isn't that great with the stock ESC. So that's gonna be the next change that I do for the next video. And I might end up throwing a Magnum in there too, because I just can't resist. But so far, I am really digging this rig. I haven't had any problems putting a hand-wound motor in there and breaking parts, so I think we're good to go. And what I would like to do next is to just go crawl and show you how it does. So let's go out there. So we're outside, ready to crawl. Let's get to it. So the low speed control isn't quite what the motor is capable of, but it's still not bad. It was still definitely an improvement going to this Crawlmaster Pro, but I'd like to see a little bit more improvement. So we shall be switching out the ESC. Whoa, plenty of wheel speed, definitely twitchy. Let's see if I can self-right. There we go, plenty of wheel speed. Definitely would do a little gear down. Next time, probably throw in a Magnum for fun. I'll go ahead and gear it down too. All right, so this is definitely handling a little bit different with this sway bar on there. I'm gonna have to plan my line just a little bit more since that rear end is kind of catching. So we'll just plan accordingly and see if we can get up the same climb. Oh, almost had it. There we go, just need to hook that front tire. So once I change the gearing out, we will get better low speed control from the gearing. It'll also be a little bit less lurchy. And that goes along with my motto of volt up, gear down. Instead of running 2S LiPo with the stock gearing, I'd rather run a third more voltage and a third less gearing. And everybody is happier. Still plenty of wheel speed, which reverse does not quite have full wheel speed, I'm noticing, as compared to forwards. And that's kind of typical with a lot of stock ESCs. They'll use essentially half the number of MOSFETs for the reverse direction. So it just can't pass quite as much current. It has more voltage drop. A little bump, there we go. And that makes it run just a little bit slower in reverse. Why would they do that? Because it's cheap, honestly. There's no other reason to do that. And we'll just have to get a little bump, bump, a little more bump, bump. Oh no. All right, we're gonna maybe try that climb again. We'll go up the side. We'll take a shortcut. See if I can line up a little better. So definitely not my most capable rig. This does not walk lines as good as the SCX-10 II. This does not walk lines as good as the TRX-4. But you know what? This thing looks dang good doing it. And to tell you the truth, it's not always about having the most capable rig, especially when you're just going out having fun. It's just about having a good time and getting your skid plate hung up on everything. You know, a little taller tires would probably help. I'm just dragging this thing through the rocks though. Getting myself into trouble with it. But for a big, heavy old body scale rig, she doesn't do too bad. Doesn't do too bad at all. This is honestly a pretty hard rock line in here at times, so if a rig can get through this section effectively, then it's a pretty dang capable rig. So you have to keep in mind that I've got high expectations. Pretty high expectations for a rig to get through this sort of situation. Oh yeah, so much less torque twist now. So much more predictable inside hills. Oh, woo. Get that stick off. Come on, stick. There we go. Almost. Oh, she's stuck. That stick doesn't look scale at all. There. Now, let's see if we can find that spot I was torque twisting last time and get ourselves bound up again. Do you remember where it was? I don't either. But rest assured, she has a lot less torque twist now. I want to say it may have been in here somewhere. Get this tire bound up, and the front tire would normally just climb up into midair, which it's not doing now. Yeah, definitely a huge improvement on torque twist. Didn't really lose much articulation considering, and a lot more stability. Just a lot more stability. Let's bash her on the rocks. All right. We'll try one more line coming up this way. See if I can take this hard climb at an angle. Oh, is she gonna hook? Not quite. Not quite. That's a really tough line. I could probably just bump it. Oh, I almost had it. And you can see the downside of a Wraith once it gets flipped over. A Wraith is, you know, with this flat hood and this big old flat section, it's pretty hard to get them to self-right themselves unless you have a ton of wheel speed, enough to where you can actually get the rig rocking back and forth, which is quite excessive. It is certainly not scale by any means. Yep. Whee! Yep, turtled. She's turtled. Well, hopefully you can tell enough difference on that with the torque twist. I could certainly feel it when I was driving. I couldn't get it into a situation where that passenger front was lifting up like we did in the last video. So hopefully pretty self-evident for you. But if you do have any more questions and you want me to try to drive something a little bit different with it, let me know in the comments. Back to inside. So there you have it. It's definitely one of my favorite rigs right now. I really like the way that the hand wound motor kind of peps up the rig. It gives us a lot of smoothness. Definitely increased the drag brake, even though it's a 5-slot motor. It increased the drag brake because it is a hand wound. And yeah, this anti-sway bar is pretty much needed on this. I would say if you're going to do any upgrades, your first upgrade should probably really be this sway bar in the back, honestly, because as far as how the rig handles, that is going to be your most noticeable improvement right away. It's going to make you more stable and just have a good time all the way around, which is what this is about. Just having a good time playing with rigs. Yeah, I think I am going to switch out the motor for a Magnum. Definitely throw a BRXL in there and end up switching out that front servo because it's you know, it's a stock servo. They're never really that great. I'm surprised that I haven't burnt it out yet, but I have been very careful not to get it into a bind and let it sit in a turn position because that will burn them out pretty quick. But if you have any questions about it, or if you have anything that you've done to your Wraith that I haven't done to mine, or maybe you're doing the same stuff, leave some comments down below and let us know about it. Would love to hear how much you love your Wraith 1.9. So thank you for tuning in and have a good one.